Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. It's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on our live show, we got some Raiders rumors. We're going to talk about Garoppolo, Aidan O'Connell. Is it time for Josh Jacobs to put some of his pride aside and sign that franchise tag? We're also going to be looking at the Athletics 53-man roster projection because they had a player not on their team. We'll discuss that. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to do my updated Raiders 53-man roster projection after the 49ers game, before the Rams game, and then I'm putting 6 Raiders players on the hot seat. Not because I'm thinking that they're going to get cut, but more on the idea that I expect more from these 6 players. And as always, if you want to get those questions, comments on the show, the 2 ways to do it, Super Chat, or you can use hashtag Raiders. You got it. Go for it.
Raiders! Let's go!
Hopefully everyone's having an amazing day. We will get into the latest news and rumors here in about 10 to 15 minutes. But first, I got some questions that I want to be able to ask the nation, and we'll let the audience build up here a little bit. If you could, all right, we saw Aidan O'Connell play against the Niners, and I've seen social media. I put this out on our YouTube community. Let's just say right now, you could pick the Raiders' Week 1 starter against the Broncos. Who would you go with? Jimmy Garoppolo, JG, or are you going to go with Aidan O'Connell, AOC? Chuggs, who you going with? Week 1, Broncos. Who's starting?
I mean, after that first preseason game, you got to look at it and you got to go, you know, AOC? Well, it was still just a preseason game. I'm still going with Jimmy Garoppolo. Are you crazy? Are you nuts?
I mean, Juice 89 is going to roll with Aidan O'Connell, but Fayez, Andre, Bobby, Jeff Rogers, Henry, all are going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. Joel Flores says Garoppolo. Here's the thing, though. High Smoke, AOC. Pat Valdez, AOC. I know there's a lot of people out there that like, and I know that there's some people who don't like Jimmy Garoppolo, but at the end of the day, man, I like a good competition. We will talk about both of these players because I probably had 10 Raider fans after that O'Connell game go, Mitch, do you think it's time to bench Jimmy Garoppolo and just roll with Aidan O'Connell? I'm going to give my answer on today's show, and we got 500 people. 500 people already tuned in to today's live Raiders Report show, and if you haven't already, make sure you guys click that like button. I understand that not every single person can send in a super chat, but a free way that you can always show love to what Chuggs and I do here at the Raiders Report. Really? Go for it. I don't care. I mean, I saw this pop up on the side of my screen, and the fact that you took time out of your day to do it, there you go.
What is this, California?
I guess.
Hey, the Raiders do own L.A.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo would be on top of AOC, I guess, in this scenario. So,
dude, low-key, cute couple. Not going to lie. There's some potential there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Yeah, I saw this pop up on my left side of my screen, and I was like, you know what? We live in Chug's world. Ever since he predicted who wins and loses in Madden, we might as well just change it to Jeremy Chuggs to just God right up here. I mean, that's just what we got to go to. Cheers to everyone tuned in, though. But seriously, I know not everybody can send in a super, but when you click that like button, when you subscribe, when you share the show, when you comment on the questions that we ask, it is always a great, great thing. Sure, go to it, Chuggs, because if anything, it looks like I'm God. It looks like it's over top of me. The G-O-D. All right, one of the topics that we're talking about today is Raiders on the hot seat. And even when you take down your rival, the San Francisco 49ers, 34-7, there's still going to be players on the hot seat. So as it stands right now, I want to know a player that you potentially think's on the hot seat. I got 6 names coming up, and I might throw in an extra one there just for all y'all. So what do you think here? If there was a player on the hot seat, Drew, he's going to go with Alex Bars. I think that's actually a really good name there, Drew. What about Raider Dave says Jimmy Garoppolo. SS says Josh Jacobs. Trey Tucker from Free Fly Jedi. Nate Hobbs from I Am. What up? Azizi Hearn. Azizi Hearn's hot seat is blazing. I mean, he's gone. He's a goner.
Mark Davis? Is Mark Davis on the hot seat?
He's probably always on the hot seat. Justin Herrod from Robert Jansen. Philip Dorsett from Kelmer. I see
Brian Scalabrine?
No. Amari Burney is an interesting name out there. Duke Shelley, Amik Robertson, Keelan Cole. Again, all these are coming. Mitchell Renz is on the hot seat.
Mitchell Renz is on the Hasbullah.
Yikes.
Hasbullah's on the hot seat. He did sign that 12-year, $1 billion deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big one all the way back on April Fool's Day. Here's the thing. I'm not the guy that sits down. I don't even have a seat to get hot. There's only one guy on the Raiders Report that's got a seat. Is it getting hot?
No, it's cool. It's cool. Usually if I'm in the studio after Coop, the seat's kind of hot.
Definitely hot.
It's a warm seat.
It's definitely a warm seat.
We're the first person in this studio today, so we got a cool seat.
I like it. All right, y'all. 620 people watching. A Loco Uno said Chuggs is safe, so you're good.
If you wanna talk about hot seat, if you wanna talk about hot topic,
okay, it's
this right here. Will Josh Jacobs be on the Raiders this season?
Speaking of hot topic, I think you look like a hot topic guy. You could pull it off.
I was definitely more of a Spencer's.
Yeah, I could see that.
Jeremy, what are you doing back there? Just looking at the posters.
Yeah. Yeah, the Spencer posters. I remember when I was a freshman in college.
Elite posters.
My buddy and I got 3 posters from Spencer's, spent $40 on it, which at that time is like $400 now.
Yeah.
And let's just say we stuck the posters to the wall, not with sticky putty though. Will Jacobs be on the Raiders this season? Give me a Y for yes, or you could type your N for no. And it looks like a unanimous, and I mean a unanimous yes right now from the nation. I got Queen, Ryan, Patrick, Sergio, Diehard, Free Fly, Adam Shav, Lascano, Holy 661 Raider, all spamming yes. However, Adam says no.
Also, apparently our Broncos channel at Chat Sports on the hot seat.
Why is that?
I don't know. Somebody just said Broncos channel at Chat Sports on the hot seat.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. We'll have to tell Petey or Sam or whoever.
Queen Sarah Auto. I told Mitch about our conversation yesterday. We'll be going more into that possibly later this week.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting thing that you put out there. I know some of y'all don't know what we're talking about. Basically, we always get challenged to do crazy wild shit on this show if a certain amount of super chats or a Venmo happen.
Queen Sarah Auto, you crazy, crazy woman.
Yeah, the queen wants to put us through some pain. Let's just say that right now.
And since I don't get tattoos, I think this actually might just be a me thing.
Okay.
Since I don't get tattoos, Sarah suggested something else if we get another large Venmo or super chat for me to do.
Yeah, I'm on board. Also, Rebel Montana said Marshall Green's on the hot seat.
Oh, 100%. 100% Marshall Green's on the hot seat.
I don't disagree. Will Josh Jacobs be on the Raiders this season? Y for yes, N for no. My answer is going to be coming up here in a little bit. We'll also go into the latest of what PFT, Mike Florio, what those guys had to say about the entire Jacobs situation with Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott.
It's not that, Robert Jansen. It's not that. If you want me to tell you what Queen Sarah Auto wants me to do, type me.
Bronx Raider just said, if no boots today, you on the hot seat. Well, it's Tuesday. Tuesday is usually the one day out of the week that I try not to consume alcohol. However, if Raider Ron shows up, we can do a boot. And you know what, Bronx Raider? I'll make you a special deal. Very, very special deal. I'll do a boot for Bronx Raider if he sends in a $100 super chat. There you go, Bronx. Robert Munoz, what's up, my dude? What up, Ray Dat 661 Raider? First super chat's coming in here from Pat Valdez, and it says, Chug, shave your head, Uncle Feaster. I don't know what that is.
Uncle Fester.
Fester? Is that Adam's family? What is that? What is Uncle Fester? Why is that ringing a bell?
I can picture it in my head.
Uncle Fester? Yeah, Uncle Fester is Adam's family.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we would have to paint your eyes basically black, totally white. You'd have to get rid of your beard. I don't know if he's saying that you look like Uncle Fester. Does Chuggs look like Uncle Fester? Chet Zuber said, wow, Mitch, Adams family, I got it right on the first guess. I just wasn't 100% sure. Cut me a little bit of slack.
Oh, let me put up that.
A little bit of slack.
So, what Sarah Otto wants me to do, which I still have to figure out the number in my head, probably for a game day.
Yep.
If we get another insane Venmo or Super Chat from Mount Raidermore or whoever,
Okay.
I'm going to be simulating labor contractions using a muscle tensor machine that'll make it feel like I'm pregnant.
Yeah, and I figured the best way that we could be able to show you is if we put Jeremy on this table, and I'm actually just going to put his legs over the TV, and then we'll just, that way you guys get the full HD experience. Honestly, it'd almost be like you're there. It's kind of like the splash zone at SeaWorld.
Would y'all, does that sound fair? And for a large super chat for me to basically give birth?
Yeah, I'll get a tattoo and eat Cheese Whiz out of belly buttons, and you can give birth. I think that sounds pretty fair.
Do a beer bong at the same time. I'll do a freedom funnel.
All right.
I'll try to do a freedom funnel.
I mean, if that doesn't prove what freedom is, I don't know. I don't know what we got to do here on the Raiders Report. All right, Jeremy.
Oh, God.
I think it's time to get into today's show, and hopefully y'all are ready to get this thing rocking and rolling. Chet loves the idea behind it. So we got 700 people watching. Yet the math, it's not making sense to me in my mind. It doesn't. I've also realized, I say now a lot to my fiance, it's not mathing. Like, the math doesn't math. I realize I say that quite a bit now at home. She'll probably bring it up once I get home. But Queen Sarah Otto, come on, you know what to do. If you've already hit that like button, spam me right now. Raider Muerte getting the good vibes.
Oh, Raider Muerte knows what's up.
Oh, dude, Raider Muerte, if there's a guy who knows good vibes,
you know what?
It's all about Muerte. What do you got for me?
I'll do a beer shot fun.
I'm listening.
If we get 10 more vibe stickers.
Wow. It's a lot of good vibes.
If we get 10 more good vibe stickers, I'll do a beer shot fun.
What up, Martin? What up, Adam, Anthony, Pat, Raider Roger, Ken Kenyon, Nada, Matthew Yoakum, CGI. I gotcha. Ryan. Uh-oh, Eric.
Oh. Hey, it's vibes.
It's all about the good vibes, Rolly.
Bro, do you not like good vibes? Rolly's a bad vibes kind of guy.
Yeah.
Eric, he gets it. I need 9 more good vibes, and I'm doing a beer shot fun.
What up, Swifty Raw? He said, yo, Mitch, Robert Jansen, Raider Rave. Raider Muerte, right. Just living in this vibe.
I need 8 more good vibes.
8 more?
8 more vibes.
Yikes. So, I think we can get there, personally. Anthony, sending in the good vibes. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, we'll give you guys some time to send in the vibes. If you don't know where the vibes are, you got to click on the Super Chat. And then there's a foam finger. You click on that, and then it's underneath. Under the stickers, foam finger, and there it is. Adam found it.
There we go. 7 more good vibes.
You know what they say? If you can find the good vibe, you can probably find something else. For the people who can't find it, probably not a lot of good vibes. Probably not a lot of good vibes. Eric, you in? Oh, he's so in right now. So in. And then another one. Back-to-back Eric good vibes. Does Eric, what shirt does Eric have on? Is that Corn the Long Way shirt? I can't tell.
I need 6 more good vibes.
Dude, I don't think so. How much did Ron contribute from Dead Raider? A lot.
5 more good vibes now that Queen Sarah Otto has sent in her vibes.
703 people. Miggy Camacho.
We'll count it.
We'll count it. Miggy's like one of my new favorite people. Miggy just looks like...
We need 4 more. Oh, no, we need 3 more now.
Miggy's a badass.
3 more.
I've never met Miggy, but there's not a doubt in my mind.
3 more after this Adam Chamul?
Adam Chamul. Isn't that the stuff you put on? Isn't that the red stuff? Oh, that's Chamoy. Same thing. Adam Chamoy. What up, man? Robert City, Raider Sancho, Mario Gallardo, and then Raider Roger.
Let's go. First time super chatter. Robert City.
First time, man. All found that good vibe.
Caught a vibe.
Shout out to the Queen as well. All right, y'all, since we got the good vibes rolling, how about this? You go grab your shot fun.
Oh, they're just rolling in now.
Ishmael's like, you know what? I got to get on this good vibe train.
Send in the vibes.
Dude, we're just running train on these good vibes. Nada! What up, Nada? What up, Ray Romero? All right, Jeremy said that he's going to do a shot fun. For those that don't know what a shot fun is, it looks like a shotgun. It's a beer drinking tool. I know, we never drink here. And you're going to put a beer in it. You're going to cock it. You're going to pull the trigger, and it shoots right back. The hard part, besides what I just said, the most difficult part about the shot fun is the beer, whatever you drink, has to be ice cold. If you try to do warm, bad vibes all over your face. It's a nightmare. 740 people tuned in. Anthony Allen and Nada sending in the good vibes. We got the good vibes train going with Matthew Yoakum. What do you got? What are you sipping on? Is that a Happy? Happy Dad Death Row Records. All right. I like it. We got a Happy Dad Death Row Records coming at you here.
Keep the vibes going.
The vibes. They're feeling pretty good right now. Remember, coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to give you my 2 cents on whether or not the Raiders should bench Jimmy Garoppolo and just start Aidan O'Connell. We'll talk about Jacobs. Is it time for him to sign his franchise tag? And what date do I think it's going to end up going down? Is Nesta Jade Silvera going to make the 53-man roster? 6 Raiders on the hot seat. And then my 53-man roster projection. What are you doing over there?
I was getting out of the way so you could read it.
Just win, baby. 7906. Good vibes.
How many vibes for a Mitch shot fun?
A Mitch shot fun.
How many more vibes?
If we get...
10 more?
Dude, I'm not drinking today.
10 more vibes.
I'm not drinking today. I'm not drinking. You got it. I believe in you. I drink enough on Thursdays and game days.
All right.
Kevin Rogers. Oh, actually, the only way that I'm going to drink today is if Raider Ron shows up or if the Bronx Raider fan drops a $100. And if anybody gets those questions in, we will put them up here on the screen. What do you got? You ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's get the good vibes going. That sucker's whistling. Woo! That sucks. The shot fun's painful because of how cold the beer has to be. Miggy Camacho, Mitch and Chuggs, your fam in my book. Good vibes. Miggy, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna have to hit you up when I come out to Las Vegas, just in case I need a bodyguard. You know, when you're walking around with a guy like Chuggs, people come up to you left and right, and they want a picture with Jeremy, so we're probably gonna need a bodyguard or two. And Miggy, I think you're gonna be able to hold it down. We got Big Pern. Hopefully I pronounced that right. David Taken. Hey, Mitch, should the Raiders try and sign Chris Jones? If you guys have questions that you want me to answer, like what David just sent in there, super chat to get those questions on the show after we get into the latest Raiders rumors. Then I'll answer all y'all's questions. But, yeah, we got a lot of big vibes to go through. Is that Jurassic Park? I think that was the Jurassic Park Jeep. Kevin Rogers, good to see you, man. Should the Raiders try and sign Chris Jones? I mean, if you don't know the latest around Jones, it's right now, I believe one of the top beat reporters from Kansas City said that the Chiefs are not going to make Chris Jones the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL, which I don't blame Kansas City for doing it because what the Rams did with Aaron Donald's deal was so skewed, it was insane. However, though, if Chris Jones isn't on that defensive tackle front and he's not on that D-line, the Chiefs go from having a good defensive line to, honestly, one of the weaker ones in the league. And when you're in that Super Bowl window, which they will always be in the Super Bowl window as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, I think they got to figure out a way to make Chris Jones happy because he is not a happy camper. He does not want to play. And, I mean, there are a lot of rumors out there that he might try to force his way out because he wants to get paid. We'll end up seeing what ends up going down.
And if we're about to get into our first segment.
All right.
If we get 10 more vibes during this segment, I'll do another shot fun.
Another one.
Another one.
Oh, boy. All right. Raider Dabs. What up, Raider Dabs? He's got a loud Raiders coming up here on today's show. I got a 3-pack of Raiders rumors ready to crack open. You ready? You ready? Let's get this thing going right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Fellas, you have a hard time getting hard? Well, guess what? I got a product for you that's going to help you out. Shout out to today's sponsor, RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat because we have an amazing product that makes it a little bit easier to, you know what I'm talking about, get it up. That link's going to be available for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show. So coming up here on the Raiders Report, Aidan O'Connell, is it time to start him over Jimmy Garoppolo? The amount of Raider fans that have asked me this question, I was like, you know what? We're just going to talk about it on today's show. Will the Las Vegas Raiders cut Nesta, Jade, Silvera, and then at the very, very end, Josh Jacobs needs to sign his franchise tag? Yes, or is that a no? But let's first kick this thing off here with a little Aidan O'Connell discussion. Hey, man, I get it. I'm all about the hype train for AOC right now. He was incredible in that preseason game up against the San Francisco 49ers. But the question is this, Mitch, is it time to start Aidan O'Connell over Jimmy Garoppolo? As much as I would love to say yes, there's no freaking way that that's going to happen. This is zero just win, babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. And I see it on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, Instagram. I've seen articles. It's out there. And the idea is that the Raiders should move on from Jimmy Garoppolo and they should put Aidan O'Connell, the rookie, in as the starting quarterback. No doubt about it. O'Connell looked good, right? He was impressive. He was able to work through his reads. He was able to find open receivers. He was accurate. Even when he was pressured in the pocket, he did all of the right things in that preseason game. That's the difference, though. Preseason. The Raiders with Josh McDaniels are 5-0 in the preseason. What do y'all think about that? I mean, it's a totally different conversation. Jimmy Garoppolo has struggled with injuries in his entire career. Yes. But the way I kind of look at it is, imagine if O'Connell looked that good. What happens if Jimmy Garoppolo looks even better, right? Like, what if we have a certain system now that McDaniels has a quarterback that knows how to run his system, can go out there and execute it? I like what I saw from O'Connell. There's no doubt about it. However, he's not going to start. We got to get that out of our mind right now. The only way O'Connell is going to be starting football games this upcoming season for the Silver and Black is if Garoppolo goes down. The Raiders' plan is to not rush O'Connell's development. Brian Hoyer and Garoppolo have been great mentors to the rookie quarterback, and even though I like O'Connell, I saw the plan that the Raiders put in place, and I'm going to trust that process because of the results that you saw against the Niners in that first preseason game where he went 15 of 18. Should have went, honestly, 17 of 18 because Trey Tucker had 2 drops, 141 yards, a touchdown, and that quarterback rating of 117.8. Now, maybe some of y'all are new to the show, and we got 900 people watching this thing live right now, but the Raiders Report is built on that communication. You and me hanging out at an Oakland tailgate. Chuggs and I hanging out at an Oakland bar, a Las Vegas bar, a Los Angeles bar, wherever Raider fans are. If you could pick a starter, though, right now, who would you pick? Would you go with Jimmy Garoppolo? Type JG. Or are you going to roll with Aidan O'Connell? I want you to type AOC. To me, man, I'm going to continue to start Jimmy Garoppolo and let O'Connell learn behind him and Hoyer. The last thing that I want to do is put O'Connell out into the fire and he's not ready to process everything. What I would rather have is O'Connell know the playbook like the back of his hand, know the checks like the back of his hand, and then if his number is eventually called, which I do think his number will be called eventually, whether it's this year or whether it is next year, I want him to be prepared mentally because from what I saw, when he's prepared mentally, that dude looks pretty damn sharp. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, find out what O'Connell had to say about Garoppolo and about Hoyer and why he's very appreciative of both of those veteran quarterbacks. But again, y'all, today's show is presented by RexMD, and we got 90% off, and you're only going to pay $2 per dosage. How? When you go to rexmd.com/chat. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? Do you wish that you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get the medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the USA, so you can trust that it's quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions or concerns you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra and Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat for up to 90% off. So let's show you now what Aidan O'Connell had to say on his takeaways from Garoppolo and Hoyer. Yeah, when you play sometimes during practice, you might not get a rep of a specific play that you're going to run in the game. So you have to learn through watching somebody else. So I try on every rep to act like I'm in there, to go through it like I'm in there, even if I'm not in there during practice. And like I said, those guys do a good job. They don't have to, but they do. They talk to me, and they don't give me the cold shoulder and just let me figure it out for myself. They slow it down for me when they need to and help me out a lot. So I appreciate them a lot. One of the things that I said when the Raiders signed Brian Hoyer was the reason why they gave him that 2-year deal is he's not going to be the backup to Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he listed as the backup to Jimmy G on the depth chart? Yes. But his main job is to be a player coach. And you've seen McDaniels and Ziegler now really like to incorporate these player coaches to help break things down and be able to translate maybe some of the vernacular to these players. And Hoyer and Garoppolo have done a good job with O'Connell, and it showed in that first preseason game. If you don't already know, subscribe to the world's most entertaining Raiders YouTube channel. At least that's what my mom says. Jeremy Chuggs and I, we put a lot of time and effort into this thing, and I know that not every single person can send in a super chat, but you know what you can do? You can hit that subscribe button, and you can tell other Raider fans to join the party, because I can promise you this, there ain't no party like a Raider Nation party. Let's go to the next story here on the Raiders Report, sponsored by RexMD. Nesta Jade Silvera, he's not going to be making the 53-man roster this upcoming season. I'm going to give this one only one just win, baby, and I think that there is a small chance that he doesn't make this. If you see one just win, baby, 25% chance or lower. And the reason why we're talking about this is because The Athletic, which I get it, The Athletic's not the most trusted source right now for Raiders information, but they still put out content. And when they put out content, my job here is to be able to talk about it because I know a lot of Raider fans still look at their content. But The Athletic projected that the silver and black would end up cutting Nesta Jade Silvera, essentially saying that, hey, he's not going to make the 53-man roster, which I did think was a little bit curious because they did draft him in the 7th round of this past draft, and the Raiders will have to make this decision on August 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Why? Because that's when NFL teams have to go from 90 to 53 players. Last season, it was a little bit different where they went from 90 to 85, 85 to 80, 80 all the way down to 53. This year, they went back to the 90 all the way down to the 53. The reason why it's only one just win, baby, is because I can't wrap my mind around the idea of the Raiders not keeping this young man, considering of how good he's looked at OTAs, minicamp, and how great he's looked at training camp, joint practice, and how good he played even in that preseason game. But this is what The Athletic had to say. Silvera has flashed often during camp and is giving himself a chance to make the team. He has arguably been more impressive than Matthew Butler, Neil Farrell Jr., and Byron Young, but their draft pedigree likely makes it too early to cut them loose, and the same goes for Jenkins, who started the first preseason game and made a sack. I think the problem with this statement here from The Athletic is at times I wonder if they even know who they cover, like in terms of a football team, because if McDaniels and Ziegler were willing to move on from Alex Leatherwood, who, I get it, they didn't draft him, but they had that high pedigree, first-round pedigree, they didn't care. They want to put players out there on the field that makes this the best overall team possible. And yes, I see that Jenkins was out there. Adam Butler played well. A lot of good defensive tackles were out there playing. But, let's keep it a buck here, right? Because Nesta Jade Silvera has been extremely good in the running game, And he has outplayed Matthew Butler. It's not close. He has outplayed Neil Farrell Jr. And yeah, he looked a lot better than Byron Young in that first game. Also on top of that, he's got ties to several coaches when he was in Miami, when he was with Arizona State. So not only has he played well, he also has those connections, and they drafted him. So I'm sorry. Something would have to happen to him for them to not make the 53-man roster, or if there was a situation where a big-time defensive tackle said, I want to go to the Raiders. That's the only way that I don't see this young man here making this roster. But I got to know from the nation out there, type your K for keep, or I want you to type your C for cut. Will Nesta, Jade, Silvera make the Raiders 53-man roster? I'm going to continue to type my K for keep, but I know that there's going to be people out there that type cut, because I don't know how many defensive tackles this team ends up keeping. I do think that they end up keeping 6, but he better make the roster. Let me make that point very clear. If the Raiders are not going to go out and they're not going to spend big at defensive tackle and free agency, which they didn't, and honestly, you look at the way that the market went, and I'm okay with it. However, though, I am much more willing to bet on a rookie, right? The Athletic throws out the name John Jenkins. He's 34 years old, and did he have a sack? Yes, he did. But is this not the team that would rather find a young rookie who has already played well, who you drafted to be a part of your regime, who guys like Max Crosby has spoke nothing but great words about? Why the hell would you not keep him? It makes no sense to me, but that's why I got to do this show, because sometimes people are going to put articles out there that, sorry, they just don't make any sense, which maybe it shouldn't surprise anyone that that's what the Athletic continues to do. All right, our final story here on the show. Josh Jacobs needs to sign the franchise tag. This one is from PFT. This one is from Mike Florio, and I don't say this often, but I agree with Mike Florio. This one's for Just Win babies. Believe it, baby. Jacobs has not... What's a good way to say this? Jacobs, this entire situation has not been an easy one, right? Raider fans deep down believe that Jacobs deserves to be paid. However, the running back market is weird right now, and the Raiders were a 6-11 football team, and I truly believe that the only way you're going to pay a running back is if think that you can go to the playoffs. However, though, in a recent article from PFT, they said Josh Jacobs should take the $10.1 million before it's gone for good. And I agree with the idea that he's not going to get a better offer in free agency, like in a crazy world, because let me get one thing straight here. For whatever reason, Florio thinks that the Raiders are going to rescind the tag. It's just not going to happen. That might make even less sense than cutting Jade Silvera, right? You're not going to let go of the best running back in the NFL, a guy who had over 2,000 total yards. But I do also agree with that if he was on the free agent market right now. I do not forecast the team giving him more than $10.1 million. And as soon as I saw the deals yesterday go down with Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, the first thing I thought was, I hope Josh is paying attention here, because with all these running backs getting the money that they are, $10.1 million, the fact that he apparently turned down $12 million, I'll ask you guys right now, would you rather have Ezekiel Elliott on a deal where he makes up to $6 million, or would you rather have Josh Jacobs at $12.1 million? There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. I might make the argument I'll take a 6.1 Ezekiel Elliott, use that other $6 million, and invest that onto the defensive side of the football. Is Jacobs better than Dalvin Cook and Zeke? Yes, no doubt about it. But this is what Florio had to say on the entire Jacobs situation. He currently can have $10.1 million for 2023 simply by telling the Raiders, I'll take it. With Ezekiel Elliott signing a one-year deal with the Patriots worth up to $6 million, and with Dalvin Cook taking a $7 million base on a one-year deal with the Jets, including up to $1.6 million in incentives, Jacobs should realize he's not going to do any better than what the Raiders are offering. I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of Raider fans out there is it's the idea of, I get that Jacobs deserves to have more money. And I think that the Raiders know that deep down. But they're not going to overpay for a running back when the market is the way that it is. If you're shopping for a car right now, and that car is $20,000, but deep down it's a great car, you're not going to pay an extra $23,000, $24,000 for it. No, you're going to get the value that you want. And that's what the Raiders are doing here. That's what good NFL teams do. They put their emotions aside, and they look at it from a business perspective. Does it suck? Yes, it does. But that is what good NFL teams do. They put the emotions aside. I do not agree with Florio often, but I agree with him on this. I do think that Josh Jacobs needs to sign his franchise tag, but I also want Jacobs to be happy, and I want him to be motivated. So even if he does end up signing the tag, the Raiders can then adjust that contract very similar to what the New York Giants did with Saquon Barkley, give him a few extra incentives, because apparently to Jacobs, that's what's more important, the incentives. Now, here's my question, because this is going to continue to go on and on and on until number 8 signs the dotted line and until number 8 is on the sidelines with the Raiders. Will Jacobs be on the Raiders this upcoming season? Yes or no? Can he sit out? Yes, he can sit out all the way up until Week 10. If he sits out past Week 10, November 14th, well, then he's not going to play the entire season. I know that he doesn't want to sign the franchise tag, but if there's not a better offer out there, he's only going to lose money. So yes or no, will Jacobs be on the Raiders this season? I do think that Jacobs is going to end up getting a deal done. I think that the Raiders are going to end up reaching an agreement with their star running back. Jacobs wants to be a member of this team. Yeah, I've talked to some people close to the Jacobs family that say Josh is very upset with how everything went down, but the Raiders are also a little bit frustrated by how this entire thing is going down. Yes, there are Raiders players that want Jacobs to get his money because they're always going to have his back, but I also know that there's some players out there that are a little bit frustrated with how this entire Jacobs thing is going, and it's starting to cloud the Raiders, which this was supposed to be the offseason. This was supposed to be the season where there was no off-the-field drama. Think about how much drama has been around the Raiders since Jacobs has been a part of that team. I'm not saying it's Jacobs' fault, but since Jacobs was drafted in 2019, there's been more off-the-field drama than actually good shit happening on the field. This was supposed to be the year, and I know several Raiders players are a little bit frustrated with how this whole thing is going down. Now, if you don't know the update, I did talk about this yesterday on the show, and on Sunday during the Raiders and 49ers preseason game, there were some fans who were talking to Dave Ziegler a little bit when Ziegler came over to say hello, and they were basically just like, hey, we got to get a deal done with Jacob. Ziegler out loud, and you can hear it in a video, said, we'll make it happen. Fans also told Ziegler to put some incentives in there, which I get the idea with Ziegler saying he's going to make it happen. McDaniels and Ziegler have continued to say that they want Jacobs to be a part of this team. I just think it comes down to Jacobs and his team in terms of his agent. They got to get on the same page. I have said before that I think Jacobs should have fired his agent, and I agree with that. Jacobs' agent dropped the ball on this one. However, though, people ask me, all right, well, when is he going to come back? When does he come back to the team? If I'm Jacobs, I got to sit here and say, since he has no leverage, I believe he has to sign that tag before August 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Mitch, why are you going with that time, and why are you going with that date? Well, that's the day that the Raiders have to go from 90 down to 53. If I'm Ziegler and I'm McDaniels, I need to know that we have our star running back that plans on playing with us, because the last thing that I want to do is I don't want to cut a player who's been busting his ass the entire offseason in OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and then he doesn't have an opportunity to chase his career dream because I don't know what you're going to do. I don't want the Raiders to rescind Jacobs' tag, but if there's one organization right now in the NFL where if it came down to that time and they really thought Jacobs was being that petty and that drama like filled, they might actually do it. I don't know. Like, would it surprise you if this organization did it? If there was one organization to do it right now, it would be the Las Vegas Raiders. However, I think Jacobs smartens up. I think his team realizes we got to get this thing done before the cuts go down to the wire. So to me, August 29th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Josh Jacobs will be a member of the Raiders by that date. All right, y'all, be honest with me. Will Josh Jacobs be on the Raiders this season? Why for yes and for no?
People are saying, we signed Damian Williams.
Oh, please. Dead Raider Damian Williams, he's not even going to make the 53. Like, Damian Williams and then...
He's no Brandon Bolden.
And Darwin Thompson, they are your Austin Walter replacement for the preseason. Like, I don't even like Brandon Bolden. Y'all know that. If it was up to me, they would have moved on from him. I don't think that Zamir is ready to carry a heavy workload. Like, watching him play, was he a winner from the first preseason game for me? Yes, because they gave him a heavy workload. However, on top of that, I mean, you can look at the talent difference. Jacobs is in another realm in terms of talent compared to a Zamir White. And the Raiders still want to be a very balanced offense, and they need to be a balanced offense if they want to have some success. Vincent, what up, man? Typing his wife for yes. I saw we got a few super chats with some questions tied to them. Remember, if you have a question that you want to be featured here on the show, send in that super chat. Raider Dabs, Raiders. Dabs, I don't know if Trey's hit you up. I sent the video that you sent to me, and it made us laugh. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's just say Raider Dabs is true to his name. That's all I'm going to say. Kenneth Phelps, what's up, brother? Thank you so much for supporting the show. Patrick, you're next up here on the Raiders Report. This team is different team than last year, in my opinion. Don't jump the gun. It's preseason week 1. Jimmy G is your starter. Sorry, in my opinion. You don't got to be sorry. I agree with you. Like,
is it too late now to say sorry?
It's not Thursday.
I don't want to see Jimmy G.
I do think that this is a different team in the idea of you've heard a lot of players come out and say it's year 2, right? Like you already know what to do. And when you know what to do for practice, training camp, OTAs, mini camp, like when you know how those things are going to go, it makes the process of teaching some of these younger players, teaching some of these free agents what this organization wants and what this organization doesn't want. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be your week 1 starter unless he gets injured. Highlight Hendo Network. What up, man? What's the Raiders' longest win streak this season?
Are you meaning like season to date or this season what will be the Raiders' longest win streak?
I mean, if Madden taught me anything...
win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I would say for the Raiders' chance to have... they can win 3 games in a row. I would say it would probably be the longest because their easiest stretch of games to me is the Packers, the Patriots, and the Bears.
Yeah.
Like that's their easiest stretch of games. Week 1 Steelers, not going to be an easy game.
And
Bills isn't an easy game. Chargers isn't an easy game.
I want to say in our Madden sims, the Raiders won those 3 games.
Well, I also think that the Raiders in our Madden sim, they went, oh no, they lost to the Dolphins. So they beat the Jets, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Vikings. No, in our Madden sim, they beat the Chiefs, the Vikings, and the Chargers.
They lost to the Colts.
Oh no, it was Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs, and they lost to the Colts.
They lost to the Colts.
Yeah. I'll say 3 games will be the longest win streak that the Raiders have.
Martin said roughing the passer.
I like the question, though, Highlight Hendo.
I think for Madden, the one thing it taught us was the signal for roughing the passer.
That. And you love to torture us. Papaya Man, what's up, bro? It's good to see you. Aidan O'Connell looked good, but wait and see what happens with Jimmy. He looked good against the Niners in joint practice. Don't rush things. Trust the process.
Raiders won practice.
The Raiders won both days of practice, and they dominated, right? And a lot of times people think this is crazy when I say it to them in person, but joint practices are worth more than preseason games because the ones go up against the ones. So when it's reported that Garoppolo's out there cooking, I saw what Aidan O'Connell looked like. And I do think O'Connell is a smart, intelligent quarterback. However, though, if Garoppolo is better than O'Connell, imagine if O'Connell is able to execute that offense even more crisp. And then you have a running back like Jacobs out there. I agree. I'm going to trust this process because so far the process this season has been reportedly good. And what I saw in that first preseason game, it was also very good. Let's go to Dylan. Can we get an Aidan O'Connell Madden season so we can compare him and Jimmy?
I don't know if you want to see Aidan O'Connell in Madden. Because if I know anything, rookie quarterbacks in Madden blow.
Yeah, they're not very good. However, I will say we will do more Madden games this season. Since our Madden season is over and the Raiders finished 10-7, I still want to be able to do games where, like, one game that needs to happen is Raiders Saints. I got to see Jimmy Garoppolo up against Derek Carr. Like, we're going to give you guys more opportunities where we'll do Madden simulations. We could do Raiders Rams on Thursday if you guys want when we go live.
Put it on the sheet for this week. I need Brett to order me Madden 24.
Ooh, Madden 24. We could probably do it.
We could swing it.
Raiders Cowboys, I want to do. We have a long live show coming up here in a few weeks. I can't give you the details yet, but we do have a long live show coming up here in about 2 weeks, and I imagine there'll be some Madden simulations going on that day.
I could bring my PS5 and I could play while you're.
Dude, I'm in. Like,
yeah.
Well, we used to do the NFL like mock drafts, like where we'd let them pick. What if we just, like, let them pick your play?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, they'll pick your play and you got to do it? Dude, I'm in. I'll see if Graf's available. Maybe he could come and you guys could play against each other.
Oh, dude, I would destroy Graf.
You would? I don't know. Graf said he was pretty good.
I would put Graf in the dirt.
All right, I'll have to hit him up, see if he's down to come play some Madden. All right, I got engaged around 2 weeks before you did this year, and yesterday I found out my fiance and I are expecting. We will find out in 2 weeks if our timelines are synced up.
I don't know if this is for me or for you.
I don't know either. I think it's
hope
for
it's
me.
for you.
Dylan, so I got engaged May 6th. Is it me or is it Chuggs? So
I hope it's you. I hope I'm not synced up in this.
I mean,
I'm not ready for a kid.
yeah, I'm definitely not ready for a kid yet either. We're many, many years away. Yeah, see, RN4L says Graf is good.
Everybody type congrats in the comments for Dylan, though.
Seriously.
Congratulations.
I mean, that's an amazing one, man. Womb to the tomb. We're bringing another guy into this, or girl. I'll say this. No matter what, though, I always got to ask, if you want, like, if you get a picture with the baby, I've had a few Raider fans say, hey, Mitch, put it up on the show kind of thing. More than welcome to bring another one of the dark side.
A Raider baby.
A Raider baptism. Dylan, though, seriously, man, congratulations. Spoken 21. Is it me, or do our linebackers look a little weak? I think we need to get one more vet. Love the show. How's the liver, Mitch? Sunday was fun. I'll always say that I think I got one of the strongest livers in the galaxy, Morty. But I do agree with you that our linebacker room looks weak. I think that we should get at least one more veteran at linebacker. Like, I've thrown out names like Rashaan Evans, Kyle Van Noy, Jalen Smith before he went to the Saints was a name that continued to get some hype here for the Raiders. But you're right, though. This Raiders linebacking group does seem weak, and I would like to be able to add a little bit more talent. Let's go to Robert, first-time super chatter. What's up, brother? I love this show. Y'all are the best, and I have a sneaky feeling the Raiders will be sneaky good this year.
Very sneaky.
Is that JJ?
If we get JJ.
If we get JJ. And Robert.
Raiders!
Robert, cheers to you. I do think that this team can be sneaky in the idea of we've already seen their defense. Their defense is flying all over the football field, and if all it took was for Patrick Graham to simplify it a little bit and let these athletes be athletes instead of having to overthink, good things could come. Also, Rob Leonard, right? I mean, I said this probably a month ago, but I always hype up Carmen Bracilla. When the Raiders hired Carmen Bracilla to be their offensive line coach, you saw how good the Raiders' offensive line was before he was here and how much better it is now. The Raiders' defensive line, and I mean, it looks a lot better. Rob Leonard is one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL.
You know, some people call me the Carmen Bracillo of the Raiders report.
I can see that. The Carmen Bracillo of the Raiders report. I can see it.
You know, before this, the last producer couldn't even do a boot in under 10 seconds.
It's a nightmare.
God, I don't even know how y'all did shows.
We always lost the battle in the trenches. What's crazy is, oh no, Sam was our old producer.
Yeah.
I was thinking Sam, and then we had an older guy. He was here.
Yeah, y'all had to hit the upgrade button.
What up, Kevin? I do believe we are going in the right direction, and it's showing. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that last wild card spot.
Get your F-Sams in the comments.
Looking at the wild card, it's definitely. I do think it's a possibility. However, you know, the AFC is loaded, right? I mean. You got the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens. The Jets are going to be a playoff team this year.
The Dolphins.
The Chargers.
The Bills.
I think I said the Bills. The Jags. I mean, there's a lot of really talented teams in the AFC. So even if the Raiders, you know, win 9, 10 games, they still might not get in. But from last season, the Raiders, my stat that I've been going with, and I continue to say it, the Raiders were 11-5-1 if the games would have ended at halftime last season. Yeah, I mean, we can win football games. Dylan, sorry, Mitch, it's me and you on the synced up. Nah, man, congrats, dude. Seriously, Alex and I, we are not expecting anything anytime soon.
Are you sure?
Positive. If we are, then we're going to have to go visit a doctor because somebody effed up something. So, Dylan, Appreciate the super chat.
Your vasectomy didn't go through?
Not that.
Oh.
Not that. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to look at an updated 53-man roster projection.
How big of a super chat to do that live on the show?
A vasectomy. Yikes. I'll make you guys a deal. I'll make you a deal. Once Alex tells me, hey, it's snip time, we'll do it live on the Raiders Report. I'm freaking in. I'm freaking in. That's probably 10 years. It's probably even like 15 years from now. That would be...
Y'all are going to be busy for a while.
Probably presented by Manscaped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think you have to...
I mean,
Brett, do you have to shave?
I mean, if it was presented by... Oh, yeah. You do. If it was presented by RexMD, that'd be hard to look at.
Yeah.
Not pretty at all. I think we can do it, though. I'm in. Snip. Time to get it going.
We're having a baby. It's a circle of life. We're possibly having a baby on the Raiders Report. And then,
I mean, it's
ending it.
Solid just win, baby, right there. Solid just win, baby. All right, y'all. I think it's time to get into our 53-man roster projection. Remember, if you do send in any questions, super chats, while I'm going through this segment here, we'll answer them after. And then after that, I got some Raiders on the hot seat.
Also, we did not get enough good vibes.
Not enough good vibes.
So, the deal still stands for this segment. If we get 10 vibe stickers during this segment, 10 vibes, I'll do another shot fund.
Ooh, interesting. All right.
So, the deal still stands.
The deal still on the table.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right, let's get this thing going. 53-man roster projection coming up right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? Coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to give you an updated look here at a brand new Las Vegas Raiders 53-man roster projection after their preseason game against the 49ers. The way that I'm doing this one is not so much the 53 players that I would keep, it's the 53 players that I believe Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler will have on the roster. If you're looking for coverage around the silver and black every single day, make sure you got the subscribe button clicked and make sure you got the notifications turned on. So as soon as we drop a video, you get a little alert here on your phone. You click on it, and you can be one of the first people in there. Believe it or not, it does help me and Chuggs out quite a bit. All right, so the way that we're going to do this, we're going to start with the quarterbacks, and we're going to roll all the way through. And I love these brand new pictures that we got here from the Raiders. So as it stands right now, you got Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, Aidan O'Connell, and Chase Garbers. These are the four quarterbacks on the roster as it stands right now. The numbers that you are going to see next to the Raiders players is me just literally counting out the 53-man. So the three quarterbacks that I'm going to keep, it's no surprise, and it shouldn't surprise anybody. It's Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer, Aidan O'Connell. So the numbers, again, is me counting out to the 53-man roster. So quarterbacks done, easy, no problem. What about the running backs? Because this is where I do think it can get a little bit more difficult. You got Josh Jacobs, who still has yet to sign the franchise tag. Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, Jacob Johnson at fullback. Do the Raiders even keep a fullback this year? Then you got Brandon Bolden, Sincere McCormick, and Britton Brown. Typically, I have been keeping 4 running backs and a fullback. And this go around, guess what? I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to keep another 4 running backs and a fullback. However, I personally would not keep Brandon Bolden. I would cut Bolden. I'd save the $2.23 million. The reason why I think that they're going to keep him, though, is he's just that player coach that they like. He's good in special teams. He's a good pass blocker. Though if it was up to me, I would keep Sincere McCormick over Brandon Bolden. Unfortunately, though, I don't make the calls here for this organization. However, though, here's going to be a question that I really need y'all to share your thoughts on down below. What is the likelihood that Josh Jacobs is on the Raiders this upcoming season? And I want you to scale it from there is a 0% chance that he's on the team to a 100% chance that he's on the team. If it was up to me, I would put this at a 95% chance that Josh Jacobs is on this roster. And you know what? We're going to make the pinned comment, so there's no excuses for you if you don't answer it. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so scroll on down and let me know. Let's go to the wide receiver room now. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow. That's pretty easy if you ask me. But there is a lot of talent on this wide receiver room. I mean, there is, right? Like, there's a good talent from quick twitchy receivers, the guys that can play in the slot. There's some bigger dudes. I thought Keelan Cole had himself a hell of a game against the Niners. He was one of my biggest winners. But to me, when you still look at the offensive line, when you look at the defense especially, I can only keep 6 receivers. And you're going to keep Renfro, Myers, and Adams. And then I'm going to keep Trey Tucker, DeAndre Carter. Carter's going to be used more in special teams. Tucker already showed you the burst and his athletic ability. You saw it in that first preseason game. And then the Raiders like Phillip Dorsett. He has connections with the team, and he's done a lot of good with this organization. So Phillip Dorsett is a name to keep in mind. Let's go to the tight end group now. Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer, Jesper Horsted, Jacob Hollister, Cole Fotheringham, and then Schnenker. Cole Fotheringham this past week had 5 catches for 70 yards, and I was very impressed by the big man's ability to not only catch the football, but lay a few blocks as well. Mayer's going to be the main tight end. Hooper's going to be right up there with him, and the Raiders moved on from O.J. Howard because they like Horsted. So for that reason, I am only going to keep 3 tight ends on this 53-man because I need to save some room for the players on defense. Let's now go to the offensive line. And for those of you that are watching this live, we do have an update here that I do want to put in our news segment. The Raiders have placed offensive tackle Brandon Parker on IR, and they actually just went out and signed wide receiver cornerback Isaiah Zuber, so just keep that in mind. However, for the offensive line as it stands right now, Parker was somebody that I was going to put on this 53-man. The problem with this whole thing now is if Parker's not going to be in, I would rather that the Raiders roll with a McClendon Curtis. And you could put Parker on the IR and maybe he just misses, I don't know, the first 4 games of the season, which is a possibility. Now, if they put him on the IR again, then he's done for the entire year, which honestly for Parker kind of sucks because he got injured last season as well. But to me, I am going to go about this as Parker's injured. I'm going to put McClendon Curtis in now over Brandon Parker, and you might have to make a few moves in and out because of the flexibility of offensive linemen from offensive tackle to also players that have the ability to play guard as well. Miller, Parham, Andre James, Alex Bars, Jermaine Illuminor, those players are going to end up making it. Again, I would not start Bars at right guard, but it does seem that this organization likes Bars a lot more. Van Roten, Netane Moody are players that I'm going to keep. Thayer Munford, which I know it's the wrong picture, but it's still Munford. Greg Van Roten, and then I'm going to add the UDFA McClendon Curtis. The bottom line here is this, that the Raiders are only going to keep 9 offensive linemen. Like, the more and more you look at the defense, the more and more you just got to have that understanding that with Carmen Brasillo, who is known to be a very, very good offensive line coach, you need to be able to create that flexibility on defense a little bit more. So the 9 offensive linemen that I am keeping here for the Raiders are the ones that are pictured. And for a 53-man roster, 26 on offense, that means I'm going to keep 27 on the defensive side of the football. Before I show you the defensive players, remember, if you want to be able to bet on the Raiders this upcoming season, NFL games, if you're like, Mitch, I want to bet on baseball, you can bet on baseball. You want to bet on the NBA when it comes back, you can bet on the NBA. I think you can bet on just about everything minus the Little League World Series. And if you bet on the Little League World Series, I question a lot of things about you. But we got an awesome deal right now with our sports book. Shout out to BetUS. You go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. You're going to get 125% deposit bonus, which means when you're a first-time depositor at that link that you see below. Let me say this right now. If you don't go to that link and you don't use that promo code, you ain't getting 125% deposit bonus. It means if you put down $100, you get $125 for free to bet with. Right now, the Raiders are plus 1,400 odds to win the AFC West. Risk $100, you can win $1,400. Shout out to BetUS for hooking up the nation. All right, let's now look at the Raiders' defense and my 53-man in terms of who I'm going to end up keeping here. As it stands right now, the Raiders' defensive end depth chart, Crosby, Tyree Wilson, Chandler Jones, I do think are the only players that are a lock to make it as it stands right now. And the only other player that's not featured on this depth chart is Agoa and then Carlos as well, which I had to move around some graphics and That's why you're not seeing them pop up. But George Tarlas is also on this depth chart. I also know Ibuka Agoa is on this depth chart as well. Believe it or not, there's not two Jordan Willises out there. But for the first time this year, I am going to keep a player that I have never kept before, and it's going to be Malcolm Kuntz. So I actually talked to a source after the 49ers game, and they were like, hey, they really like Malcolm Kuntz. And he continues to go out there, and he's showing out. He's playing well. He looks like he's in better shape. And even though I like Adam Plant Jr. a lot, the way that the Raiders might take this is they say, okay, Adam Plant Jr. might not get signed by another NFL team if he's on our practice squad. However, Malcolm Kuntz won't want to be on the Raiders practice squad. He'll say, I want to go play somewhere else. Give me another opportunity. But the second year in the Patrick Graham system, also Jordan Willis' ability to play inside and outside at defensive tackle, I think is why he gets the nod. And these are the 5 defensive ends that I'm keeping. Let's now go to the big guys up the middle here at defensive tackle. And this is going to be another room that I am really looking at closely because there is so much competition. Bilal Nichols guaranteed to make it. The rookie Byron Young guaranteed to make it. After that, there are no guarantees. Now, sure, there are certain players that I'm willing to bet on end up making this 53-man roster, but because I went with 5 defensive ends, I'm actually going to go with 5 defensive tackles as well, where I've kind of been doing the 4 defensive ends, 6 DTs thing, but this one is more about what I think McDaniels and Ziegler end up doing. So Bilal Nichols, Jerry Tillery, Byron Young, Neil Farrell Jr., and yes, I am keeping Nesta Jade Silvera, which means I am moving on from Matthew Butler, a player that I've heard not too much good about this offseason. He has gotten better in training camp, but at the end of the day, man, you got to look at who's best going to help you win football games, and these defensive tackles will help you do that. Let's now go to the linebacker room here. Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, Luke Masterson. And then after that is where the competition does really get started. Amari Burney is going to make the roster because the Raiders drafted him, but he's still battling it out with Darian Butler, Drake Thomas, Curtis Bolton continues to impress me. He had a great game against the San Francisco 49ers. However, I am only going to keep 4 linebackers with this Patrick Graham defense, and I'm going to roll with Spillane, Diablo, Amari Burney, and Luke Masterson. If that list of names surprises you, well, then you don't watch this show very often, right? I do think Bolton is a good player. I wish him the best. I do think that a guy like Darian Butler, I wish him the best. But at the end of the day, man, I got to keep these 4 linebackers because that's just what makes this Raiders defense the best. All right, let's go to the cornerback room now, where Jacorian Bennett, Nate Hobbs, and Marcus Peters, these will be your starting corners on the Las Vegas Raiders. And once the Raiders put out their brand new depth chart, there were some players I was definitely surprised to see how far down that they had there. Like a Duke Shelley was down there pretty far. David Long Jr. was down there pretty far. And I know that this team likes Tyler Hall. However, this is the first time all year that I do not have Tyler Hall on my 53-man roster projection. And I'm just going to tell you it's because they like other players, I think, a little bit more. So I'm keeping Peters, Hobbs, and Bennett. And then, yeah, I'm going to keep Amik Robertson in this mix because he's played well. He's working with the ones right now. They like his versatility. And kind of like what I said about Malcolm Kuntz, it's that ability to go in and out and his ability to play outside and inside. Also, we do have an update here on Brandon Parker. He is actually done for the year. He suffered an injury. He is done for the season. Duke Shelley and then David Long Jr. However, I do want to throw out another name here, Brandon Faison, where I could see the Raiders putting Faison on the short-term IR list, which then it means he's going to be out the first 4 weeks of the season, and you don't count against the 53-man roster. It is something to keep in mind. It is something that I could see the Raiders doing, and if they end up doing that, then the player that I think that they end up moving on from, where you put Brandon Faison on your roster, that means then you'd probably move on from David Long Jr. However, these were 4 cornerbacks that I was battling with. Like, out of these 4 names right here, who are you keeping? Are you going to keep a David Long Jr. type DL? Are you going to keep a Brandon Faison type BF? Maybe you decide to keep Sam Webb type SW, or are you going to keep Tyler Hall? I want you to type TH. Let's now go to the safety room here. Marcus Epps, Trevon Merrick, locked and loaded. Those are your top 2 safeties. Then the final 2 spots come down to the other 4 players here. Roger Teamer, Chris Smith, Isaiah Polomeo, and Jaquan Johnson. Let's get it straight, though. Chris Smith, the rookie out of Georgia, he's a lock to make it. So that means it's between Isaiah Polameo, Jaquan Johnson, and Roger Teamer for the final 3 spots. Roger Teamer played over Polameo this past preseason game, but I'm going to go with the upside. I'm going to go with the player that's better in coverage. He's 6'4", offers you a lot more versatility, and these will be the 4 safeties that the Raiders keep because they can also use Polameo in as a linebacker safety hybrid, which means that's how we're going to round this thing out. Daniel Carlson, A.J. Cole, Jacob Bobbin Moyer for number 51, 52, and number 53 of my Las Vegas Raiders brand new 53-man roster projection. And anytime that the Raiders get done playing a preseason game, I'll try to always do these at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. It just kind of depends how it goes. But the last one I did was so different compared to this one, and it's going to continue to change and change and change because the Raiders will continue to make moves and moves and moves every single week. And if you don't already know, if they make a big enough move, we'll be live here on the show, so hit that subscribe button. All right, y'all, so who did I leave off my list? Let me know right now. There's got to be somebody. You're like, Mitch, I can't believe you don't have that guy in your 53-man roster. And the answer to that is, yeah, you're probably right. Who did I leave off my list? Let me know down in the comments. All right, Chuggs. I want to get a cut on the Brandon Parker thing. I'd like to be able to put that out. So if you could get me a player bio on him, a depth chart, and then also a list here of the players that the Raiders worked out. And if somebody could get a highlight cut, that's going to be the cut that I want to go out now. And then I'll just schedule everything else when I need to. All right, y'all, if you could hang out with one Raider player, who would it be? And tell me why. If you don't know, Brandon Parker, he is done for the season. That news just dropped. He's been placed on IR, which is really unfortunate for him because he got placed on IR last season as well in August, never had the opportunity to play, and now he's on the IR yet again. On top of that, the Raiders also worked out a defensive tackle, an edge rusher, or 3 edge rushers, and then a nose tackle. So 2 defensive tackles and 3 edge rushers worked out for the Las Vegas Raiders today. So essentially, what's going to be coming up here on today's show is I'm going to go through the breaking news around Brandon Parker. I'm going to talk about who it helps the most, and then we'll also talk about the 5 players that came in for a visit around the silver and black. So that's going to be coming up here on today's show. Mario says, who are they? I'll tell you in just a second. Jeremy's going to get a few things set up. A few of the other guys here on our team are going to get a few things set up, and then we're going to roll through the breaking news here, and I'd say breaking in air quotes there, that Brandon Parker, unfortunately, is done for the season. I do not know what the severity of the injury was or is. The Raiders also signed a wide receiver / cornerback, and this was a player that they had on the team a little bit last season as well. So if you could just add all that, Chuggs, I know it's a lot thrown at you, but we'll get it going. All right, man, we got Primo. What up, Rebel? He said get a mailbag going. We will, if you guys want me to answer some questions right now while Jeremy gets everything ready, we'll answer some questions here, and then we'll talk about the news that just went down here around the silver and black, and we'll do that for about 10 minutes or so. What do we got here? What up, JB? Juice said, wouldn't be surprised if Aidan O'Connell is the starting quarterback week 1. Remember, Matt Schaub was supposed to be the starting quarterback, but Dennis Allen named Carr the starting QB in 2014. Yeah, one of the reasons why I talked today about should the Raiders bench Jimmy Garoppolo for O'Connell's because of the amount of Raider fans that told me exactly what you just did there. I do think there's a big difference in draft pedigree between 4th and 2nd round, and I also know that there's a big difference between Matt Schaub and Jimmy Garoppolo, especially with this coaching staff and the ties that they have with Jimmy G. Plus, that's not their plan. This is an organization that sticks to their plan. The plan all along is that Garoppolo is going to play in 2023, and then if he's not excellent, they will hand the keys to the car to O'Connell the following season. I just don't see a world where O'Connell takes over for Jimmy Garoppolo if Garoppolo is healthy, unless he's really bad, like multiple games into the season. That's the only way. But week 1, if Garoppolo's healthy, he's the guy. And that's just the way that it's going to be. Like, I don't care if O'Connell comes out week 2 of the preseason game and throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and then does it the exact same the next game, they're going to roll with Jimmy Garoppolo. Because I know what McDaniels and Ziegler are thinking. Oh, wow, if O'Connell looks this good, just imagine what Garoppolo is going to be able to do for us. Now, if Garoppolo, let's just say, is injured, then we can get out of his contract, and then it could be the Aidan O'Connell show. But it would be interesting. Mario says, I would love to hang out with Hunter Renfrow. Defensive hangout with Crosby. I think I would like to hang out with Renfrow, but only Uber around Las Vegas, just to see the crazy Ubers and stuff that he would order for us. They need to keep Jimmy Garoppolo out of the Bunny Ranch to save his energy, Todd. You know, I'm old enough to remember a sports science show, and I don't know if you guys remember that show on ESPN, but they did a study, and the study was when people have sex before sporting events, they perform better because your testosterone goes up and you're actually more locked in. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself. So Jimmy G, go to the Bunny Ranch. I don't care. Just perform well on Sundays. That's all I care about. Terrence Minor, I hear you. We got K-Man the Beast. What up, what up? Jaime says it's true. So if Jaime says it's true, then it's definitely true. Aaron Rowley, Mitch, didn't the team just look like it had more of a sense of urgency? We lacked last year. It makes a difference if guys actually want to be out there. I do think it's hard to say that because the Raiders did go 4-0 in the preseason, and I thought that the Raiders last offseason looked really good. And this is just the part of the year where we just have to pump the brakes a little bit. Because last offseason, it was Raiders went 4-0 in the preseason. The Raiders dominated the Patriots at joint practice. I literally feel like it's deja vu all over again. The Raiders are dominating the 49ers in joint practice. The Raiders dominate the 49ers in the preseason. But when it comes down to it, it's regular season's got to be it. I'm off tomorrow. I don't think it does necessarily. I think it's fine. Yep. Sorry, Jeremy's just talking to me a little bit. We're trying to get a show together again. There's some news around Brandon Parker, and we're going to give it to you. So talk about the Brandon Parker. Talk about, give me a depth chart, the 5 players that they worked out, and then the player that they signed today. And then, yeah, if you can give me a weigh-in around all of it, a sub-read, we'll be good. If they want me to do a sponsored, we can do one. Bet US might be the easiest, but let me know. Who? Brandon Parker is number 75. Correct. Yep. What up, Primo? What up, Alex? If you guys haven't already, show some love to Chuggs. He's building an entire show behind the scenes right now. And this is what I mean where some of y'all are like, where do our super chats go? They go for all the graphics that we're about to build here real quick. For the team out there getting some stuff together, the more and more and more that you guys help us out here, the more content that we're able to provide. So we got 952 people watching. Yep, I was going to say, I think Tom just sent me that as well. We got 955 people watching, yet only 492 likes. Come on, y'all. Click that like button for free Raiders content every single day. We got you covered. I know, it's very devastating news there for Parker. But it does help out some other players on this offensive line, and it does help out some other people as well to make that 53-man roster, because I do think Parker would have made it. The Raiders liked his ability to just put it in the way that we do it. Like Costin, DT. I just don't want to get a slack from Brett. Thank you. Raider Muerte sending some good vibes. A cat, a monkey. Aggressive Master Raider. Rep your city, nation. Riverside, California. I like it. While we're waiting for Jeremy to get this show together here, how about this? Aggressive Master Raider wants to know where you're watching from, what city. He wants you to rep it right now. Is anybody planning on going to the Raiders-Cowboys preseason game here in Dallas? That's what I want to know, because I do think that there's a good chance that Chuggs and I will show up to the tailgate for like an hour or two, hang out with the nation a little bit. I do think My fiance might be at that game with her family as well. So it'll be kind of an interesting thing to see. I got Fresno from Raider Muerte, Oakland from Francisco, Vegas from Chris, Charlotte. What up, Martin from Tonebridge? We have Kansas City from Peyton, Santa Ana from Jake, Riztube. Raider Nation in Fullerton, California. Purdue, Bay, Alaska from Vic. I think I said that wrong. Tampa Bay, Florida. Modesto from Timmy. I got OKC from Diehard Raider Fan 365. Sacramento. We got Davie, Florida. Delaware, Ohio from Tom Davis. Warner, Oklahoma from Billy. Post Falls, Idaho. LQ Sports. Good to see you back here. Modesto. Kelmer from Wichita, Kansas. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, we're going to get into all of the breaking news that just happened here around the silver and black because got some news on Brandon Parker. The Raiders, they signed a player, and then they also worked out 5 players on top of that. So we'll talk to you about all the players, some of the notes that I've been able to gather here very, very quickly. And these are, very rough notes, if you will. So some of the players, you're going to be like, who the hell are they? Most of the players, you're probably going to say, who the heck is this guy? But we got everything here. So sounds good. You got spons? 950 people are watching. If you haven't already, click that like button and hit that subscribe button. Jeremy's just checking a few things off here, and then we'll be able to get into this news here around Brandon Parker for Las Vegas. That's what we'll end up getting this thing rocking and a rolling. It's going to be interesting, though. There's no doubt about it, man. It's going to be interesting. I see my dad's in the chat. Say what's up to my dad. Mickey Camacho repping from Denver. Dave, Raider Nation is big in Buffalo. Good job, Chuggs from Primo. Shout out to Rebel. Robert Jansen showing Chuggs a little bit of love here in the background. Okay. I think we're close. Bet US? Okay, sounds good. We can. Yeah, adds a little time. All right, y'all, coming up here is going to be the Raiders news that just happened here a few moments ago. So we're going to roll through everything. I'm going to tell you who the players that the Raiders worked out today, and then the Raiders also ended up signing a guy. That's all coming up here on the show. You ready? Todd Walker, Spoken, Martin. Martin says it's pronounced Tunbridge, Mitch. Is that right? Or Tune? Ton or Tune. Here's the problem when people do that kind of stuff, Martin. I'm so dyslexic that it literally doesn't help me. Gerardo Mendoza, shout out to Julio and Go Raiders. First time super chat from Gerardo Mendoza. I salute you. Ready? Chuggs is ready. Are you guys ready? I sure hope so. Coming up right now, the breaking news here around the Las Vegas Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from the Raiders Report, and we got some news to discuss. Unfortunately, yet again, Brandon Parker is done for the season. He suffered an injury in the 49ers preseason game or before the game, and now is done. The Raiders moved him to IR, and he will no longer be able to play this upcoming season. The reason why I say again is because it's unfortunate because last season, also in August, Parker suffered a triceps injury, which put him out the entire season. So coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you about the other move that the Raiders made today because they went out and they signed a wide receiver / cornerback, and he was on the team last season. On top of that, the Raiders worked out 5 players on the defensive line. So I saw this news break from my guy Tristan, which some of y'all know him as Raider Scout on IG. I don't know what IG has against Scout, though, right now. But Tristan said that the Raiders have placed offensive tackle Brandon Parker on IR. Parker suffered a season-ending injury versus the 49ers in joint practices, which gives Dalton Wagner an inside edge for that 4th tackle spot behind Colton Miller, Jermaine Illuminor, and Thayer Munford. And I kind of think it's funny that he mentions this, and I 110% agree with it because for those of you watching live and, for those of you that aren't watching this live, I got some players on the hot seat. And one of the players I'm going to be putting on that hot seat is Justin Herron, because he was really one of the biggest losers from that Raiders preseason game against the 49ers, and I know that this Raiders organization, especially Carmen Brasillo, is very excited about Dalton Wagner because he's a mountain of a human being. So as it stands right now, this is your Raiders offensive line depth chart. And with Parker out, he was going to make this roster because he has that ability to play swing tackle, left tackle, right tackle. So it's going to be Miller makes it, Jermaine Illuminor is going to make it, Thayer Munford's going to make it, and then it comes down to Dalton Wagner, the UDFA from Arkansas, or Justin Herron. Wagner plays right tackle. Herron is more of a left tackle, can play a little right tackle, but to me this offensive line is built more on finding players that are in the running game. And from what I saw for Herron, it's not pretty. For Dalton Wagner, as big as that player is, that's the guy that I'd be willing to take a little bit more of a chance on. Now, if you didn't already know that update, hey, man, that's what the Raiders Report here is all about. We're here to keep you updated on all things around the Las Vegas Raiders. So, if you're looking for free videos around the silver and black, I got you covered. To make sure that you never miss anything, make sure you click that subscribe button and make sure that those notifications are turned on, because when Raiders news happens, we got you covered. So again, y'all, Brandon Parker, the news is this. He has been placed on IR. He is done for the season, and in back-to-back seasons, Parker will not be a member of this Las Vegas Raiders team, which for him, best of luck to him next offseason, because I don't know what team's going to give him a chance after back-to-back years of him not playing. But I will say this, and even though Parker did not turn out to be a solid second-round pick and, was not very good of a player, we'll call it a spade, I will always wish him nothing but the best, because this is a brutal injury. So I want you guys to wish him a speedy, speedy recovery. Type those 75s down in the chat. Anytime you see a player back-to-back seasons get injured and not have the ability to go out there and showcase their talent and not be able to go out there and do what they love to do, it definitely sucks a lot. So, Brandon, I'm going to wish you nothing but the best, my guy. I know the nation is going to wish you nothing but the best as well. Type those 75s down in the chat. But with Brandon Parker being placed on the IR, that means the Raiders had an open roster spot. And that open roster spot now belongs to Isaiah Zuber, who I would say he's probably built more to be a wide receiver than he is a cornerback, and that's just my 2 cents. And he's an interesting athlete, and the way that I'm going to say this is kind of like your DJ Turner replacement, right? The Raiders, they moved on from Turner before the preseason game against the San Francisco 49ers, and we've seen the Raiders make these bottom-of-the-roster changes. Austin Walter hit IR, so what do? They went out and they signed Damian Williams. What do? They went out and got Darwin Thompson. The Raiders had to move on from Darius Harris last weekend, so what did? They brought back Kanai Malga. It's the exact same damn thing here. They move on from DJ Turner last week, and now they brought in Isaiah Zuber, a player who has been with the New England Patriots before, a player that has been on the Raiders last season practice squad, has spent some time with this organization. That is why this move ultimately ended up going down. So where exactly does Zuber fit here on this Raiders wide receiver depth chart? He's going to be at the bottom of the list, right? Like, he's also going to be right next to Cam Sims, because he's not going to make this roster. If the Raiders were going to surprise me with anybody that ends up making it, I'd say Wilkerson's got a better chance. Chris Lacey's a big receiver, but this silver and black organization is only going to keep 6 at most receivers, and that's going to be Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, and then it's going to be DeAndre Carter, Trey Tucker. After that, it is up there in the air a little bit. However, I'm a betting man, and I'm going to bet my money on Philip Dorsett. If you're a betting man or woman out there, we got a awesome sponsorship here with the #1 sports book out there. It's BetUS. And if you want to get the best deal on the internet, you got to go to chatsports.com/Raiders. You got to use promo code Raiders125. That gets you 125% deposit bonus, which means if you're a first-time depositor, you put down $100, you're going to get $125 for free to bet with. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you want to bet on the Raiders win the AFC West. Right now they are plus 1,400 odds. That means if you risk $10 and the Raiders win the AFC West, you win $140. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. Go bet on the Raiders. It makes the season a lot more fun. Again, it is chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. Let's also talk about some of the players that the Raiders brought in for workouts today. And man, I got to give a shout out to Las Vegas and Ziegler, just because the amount of players that this team has been able to bring in that probably not a lot of people know too much about, but I got to give a shout out again to Scout here on Twitter, where Doug Costin, defensive tackle, he's got a career 33 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 PBUs, 9 quarterback hits, 7 pressures, 14 run stops, and 471 snaps. Then Jonathan Garvin, he's got 32 tackles for his career, 1.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 33 pressures, and 675 snaps. Isaiah Mack, more of a nose tackle, 17 tackles, 339 snaps for his career. Wyatt Ray, edge rusher, 20 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 347 snaps. And then you got at the very bottom, Kenny Willikers. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I look at it as almost like Kenny G. Willikers. He's got 21 tackles, 11 stops, and 202 snaps. And all those stats are provided by Tristan Kuhn over on Twitter, one of my good friends, and he's been having a rough go at it. So if you could, show him some love, man. He deserves it. He works his freaking tail off. But the big notable thing here that I'm looking at is for the Raiders to bring in this much, we'll say, this many bodies in terms of workouts for their defensive line, for their defensive tackle group, it still means that they're trying to evaluate some talent on that line, which I would like to see what Rob Leonard could do with some of these players, and maybe they decide to put a few of these dudes out there during the Raiders' second preseason game against the Rams. It could also mean that they've seen enough from their current defensive tackle room, and they don't want any of those guys to get injured. Now, the reason why I made today's show was the big-time news that Brandon Parker is done for the season. He suffered an injury. From what we know right now, it is still undisclosed, but the injury was sustained in joint practices against the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if it was on Thursday or if it was on Friday last week, but Parker is done for the second straight season. That corresponding move, then the Raiders also went out and signed Isaiah Zuber. To make sure you never miss anything around the Raiders, you want even more news, rumors, you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. And if you need any more information on this team, you got a question, you got a comment, maybe I wasn't able to see it in the live show because we got over 900 people watching right now. These are the easiest places to be able to hit me up and find me. That's on social media. We got you covered here, Jeremy Chuggs and I. If you made it this far in the video, spam Chuggs down in the comments. He threw that entire show together in less than 5 to 10 minutes. Show Chuggs some love. I wish they could see what you're doing in the background. He's just like, yeah, nothing but that from Jeremy Chuggs. Matthew Yoakum, El Loco Uno, Queen Serrato. Shout out to all of y'all out there. If you could just have somebody push that piece out, greatly appreciate it, and then we'll kind of be covered really, really solid. For those that do not know, if any breaking news happens tomorrow, I just got to be honest with y'all. Like, unless, like, Jacobs news happens, I probably can't come into work. I got some family stuff going on tomorrow, and I need to be there for a certain family member. So hopefully y'all understand that, but I am off tomorrow because of that. So just keep that in mind. All right, what is the likelihood that Josh Jacobs is on the Raiders this upcoming season? 0 to 100%, and if you spam Chuggs, we'll give you a shout-out here on the show. Thomas Borrego says 75%. 3 just win, babies. Thomas, appreciate you watching the show, man. I like that more. We got Otis spamming Chuggs. Patron says 100%. Yo Yogi, 100%. Horace says 1,000. Meeks, 25. Johnny Raiders, 80%. 90 from Jaime Alvarado Sr. Martin is going to go with an 80. Secret Sancho, 75%. Wicked Encounter, 88%. 50 from Late Night. Agent is going to go with 99%. Okay. 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 Sounds good. Yeah, the thumbnail, I think, looks good. And then I'll review the copy. So if you just want to hop on real quick.
Oh, yes.
Is that the bottom of my original doc?
It's a me.
Yep.
Let me know. A lot of 90s. A lot of 90s. And I see a lot of Chuggs. I see one Chigs. But also, the other person that was helping out a ton in the background, we call him Tex. If you could spam Tex in the comments right now, that'll make him feel really good. Give me some Texes, not Texas, T-E-X. Yes, spam Tex for me in the comment section. He was a real one. Helped us out behind the scenes as well. Oh, yeah. Tex Daddy, Tex Baby. We call him Big Tex because he rolls like that. Also, I have my shot fun ready to go. We did get enough vibes. We just had some breaking news. So I do have my shotgun, my shot fun, sorry. My shot fun. Not real. It's a toy. My shot fun ready to go. Thank you for the vibe stickers. Thank you for keeping the good vibes up. Tex Among Us from Kyle. I like that. Robert Chuggs, did you rebuild the Colt sim? Man, you have that on your mind, Robert. You're able to get sleep? I feel like you're eat, sleep, drink, Colts Raiders sim. Shot fun for all the good vibes. We appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. Good vibes always. Even through, you see what we go through on breaking news. It's funny whenever stuff like this happens live because you see the live interaction between me and Mitch on what we would be doing if we were just sitting at our desks. Like, yo, Brandon Parker just got hurt. We need this, and this. But this one's for you boys. Ooh. Yeah. Dude, the cold hurts. The cold hurts way more.
What's up?
That's what I like. I don't want to say this, but I think I like boots more than I like the shot fun.
Yeah.
Just because boots can be normal temperature. The
Agreed.
shot fun has to be cold. I don't love that.
Is
Yeah.
that so? Oh, man.
My teeth are Cincy. Then do a boot, Chuggs. We're 100 away from 250. If we get to 250, I'll do a boot.
Ooh, okay.
We're $106.44.
Well, who's pushing out the video?
Texas. Tex is.
Okay, well I messaged him. I don't see him. I said I updated the title.
He's in B, putting the intro screen and everything on there.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I updated the title, so Yep, everything's good. Yep.
Just because Robert takes everything I say extremely literal.
Okay.
We're a $106.44 away from a Jeremy boot.
Wow.
So Robert, just letting you know.
What is it? 106?
$106.44.
Wow, that's
Because if I said $100 and then went back, Robert with his abacus.
No, I got
Yeah,
you.
you know.
I got you. Did we go through the super chats from
We did not.
Gerardo, JJ fan?
I have the last one that we went to.
Okay.
So we need to go to.
I sent you another one, Mitch, for Chuggs. Raider Dabs. All right, here. I'll Dabs. I'll show you his exact. Let's see here.
Raider Dabs.
Raider Dabs.
Let's see. Instant reaction.
Instant reaction from Raider Dabs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I don't see. Oh.
What? What?
Danny's in the chat right now.
Attaboy.
I didn't see you.
Attaboy, Dabs. You didn't see him.
She said big fan.
Oh, really? Wow. Big fan. A cat, a monkey, Raider Muerte. Vibe surrounded with little purple stars. We got a bunch of these.
A lot of vibes.
A lot of good vibes on him. Blaine Craig is always about having a good time. A cat, a monkey.
Great vibes.
Spectacular. John Scheffler, when he's in the chat, you never know what the hell is going to happen. You never know. A cat monkey again.
The Catamonkey sent like 6 vibes.
I mean, this guy is just all about the good vibes.
Yep, vibes.
More?
Raider Muerte vibes.
Keep them coming.
Back to a Catamonkey.
Okay. Aggressive Macerator. Rep your city nation, Riverside, California. I did that one like 10 minutes ago. That might have even before we talked about the Brandon Parker news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was right before we broke it down.
Okay. And then we got JJ fan who Rams now are eating corn the long way, which I'm telling you what, JJ,
Dude, this
you
is
keep
one of the best bits.
You keep this going all year. I love it. Raiders versus Rams is the first game I am going to since Oakland. So wish me luck and let's go Raiders! I mean, there's nothing that's going to compare to Oakland. Jesus.
Oh! Brandon Jasper! Let me toss it up. Bang!
The Great Tuna!
All right. Remember, Robert, we need $6.44 now.
We are $6.44 away from a Jeremy Chuggs boot. Tuesdays
Or 3 vibes.
or 3 vibes. 3 vibes from a boot. JJ Fan Roblox. You a real one. Robert says I'm on it, man.
Chuggs boot, locals. Tell us about it.
Well, Brandon, I was live yesterday on Locals at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I try to go live every single Monday, Wednesday. I won't be live tomorrow because I got a family thing going on. But, hey, we do live personal interactions, live videos, and on top of that, once the season starts, we're going to do these things called weekly pick'ems, and we're going to have prizes and a lot of really fun stuff. It's only $10 a month to join. Woo, man, Robert says, when will my jersey be ready? The amount of jerseys that we have in the queue right now is what I like to call it. It's a lot.
I was telling Mitch the other day.
We have like 14 jerseys. Also, it's boot time from Scheffler. It's boot time. That was basically Brandon Jasper came down coast to coast, did some like crazy ass shit, threw it up, and Scheffler was just like, I got it.
Game blouses.
What were you going to say?
Um,
You don't remember. That's on me. What was Jeremy going to say? Remind us in the chat. He's going to go fill up a boot. What are you doing? What kind of boot ski? Happy Dad boot?
I did the grape one earlier.
Happy Dad. Happy Dad. Grape? It's already on there. Way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you. I've done this before. That's not my first bang. It's not my first bang. I almost feel like I should make a Raiders Report black book for everyone that's ever banged. That's kind of an interesting idea. I don't hate it. Raiders Report black book for every single person that's ever banged. I'm in. Literally. I don't know the answer, but we could start a Raiders Report Black Book for 2023, the regular season Raiders Report Black Book. Are you guys in? I love it. What? You can make it digital. If we make that digital, I mean, that's on you. That's credits at the end of Pandora. Or what's that movie? Avatar. If you round up. Now I'll say Pandora. It was either that or Spotify. I couldn't remember the planet. All right, y'all. We got 700 people watching. A bang is sending in 100. That's correct. Yeah. Once the 2023 season starts, I mean, as soon as kickoff happens, or soon as our tailgate party starts for week 1, we're starting a Raiders Report 2023 Black Book. Oh, dude. I love it. I love the idea. We can keep track of who bangs the most. Brett gave me the thumbs up or okay sign, which means we can do it. Do we make copies?
Well, at least I hope it was
Very nice. Speaking of guys who got snipped, if you guys want to hit us up on locals, you go to raidersreport.locals.com.
I thought I would leave it on for Brandon.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. I think that's more than fair. What's happening here? Wow, Chris Jones, the defensive tackle for the Chiefs, just liked a tweet about joining the Raiders.
Oh no!
Chris Jones to the Raiders. People are talking. Chris Jones to the Raiders. He just liked a tweet, and we know if you like a tweet about going to another team, it's going to happen. That's how social media works.
Just look at Deebo Samuel
Perfect.
on the Cowboys.
There you go. Aaron Rodgers on the Raiders. Wild. Oh. All right, yo. Over, under. What should be the time, Brandon? You set the boot time here for Jeremy. You set the boot time for Jeremy. And also coming up here next on the Raiders Report, because we have more content that we got to get to. I got a few players on the hot seat. We're going to crank up the heat here a little bit. A few players that need to step it the hell up because they're on the hot seat right now.
Miguel, yes.
What happened? 6 seconds. 8 from Robert Jansen. Ira Jackson says 7.3. Honestly, the first jersey that I believe I'll get is Ira Jackson. I put that order in on July 26th. We're still waiting to get back. We have so many. We have so many.
That's what I was going to say.
What?
I remember what I was going to say is I was telling Mitch the people who we get our jerseys from
Okay.
and the people who we get our boots from are probably like, holy crap, these people order so much.
I know. Yeah, it's the boots. It's insane. And then the jersey, we got a few. Danny wants you to do that in 1.1 seconds. I'll say this right now. If you pour that entire thing on your face in less than 1.1 seconds, I'll do the boot for you. I'll do another boot.
If I pour it on my face?
Yeah, you got to try to drink that in 1.1 seconds.
Oh, so not just
Correct.
dump it on myself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The only way you're drinking that in 1.1 is if you do exactly that. And if you are able to accomplish it, I'll do a boot.
I can't. I'll be wet.
That's the point. You want me to pour it for you? Hey, Brett.
Is Brett okay with that?
Hey, Brett. Are we good to do that? Yeah, I think he gave me a thumbs up.
I don't know if Brett, I don't know if he wants that.
So I got a proposition. So we have somebody in the comments that wants Jeremy to try to drink this in 1.1 seconds. So my idea here, well, with that attitude, the way I was thinking is if we just go just like that. Where could we do it? What about over there in the corner? I got no'd. I got told no.
Sorry, buddy. I just greenlit your great idea.
I got no'd. I got no'd.
So, my great idea that now that Danny's in the chat, I didn't even tell her about this last night.
Okay.
For a high Venmo, I'm going to do a labor simulation.
Where is it? Well, I have no idea. I mean, if the likelihood of me knowing how to spell likelihood is probably low.
You're doing the American version. I was doing the British.
Yeah, that's for Martin. Do you spell gray with an A or an E?
Colors or colors?
Exactly.
But yeah, Danny, I didn't tell you that last night, but For a high super chat, Mitch is getting a tattoo. For me, I'm gonna do a labor simulation.
I just got a Venmo from Danny. Yeah, that's going to be nuts, man. Danny said you've lost your mind. That's why we call him Chuggs. All right, coming up here, it's boot time. All right, I want 7.8 seconds. Over under 7.8 seconds for the Lord of Boots, Jeremy Chuggs. Type O for over, U for under. We got Lord Only Dan's and Aggressive Masterator. You put both of them together, and we get Jeremy with boots. Lord Aggressive Boots.
Are you ready?
No, actually, I'm probably the least ready person here right now. All right. Oh, I'm not even close. Okay, I'm ready now.
All right, I'm telling my fiance this one's for you.
Uh-oh. That means it's really going to be quick. Oh my God. That's one of those things that never ceases to amaze me. If you could just drink boots all day, I'd watch. I would seriously, I'd watch all day. It's one of those things where no matter, you ever like watch a video and you're like, I've seen that 10 times and I'll just keep watching it? That's that. That's nuts. What's the time? What's the time? I'm seeing 7.69. I'm seeing 7.69. Wow. Slip says 7.5. Chet, it's probably right. Probably correct. Keep that for locals, Mitch. You got it. All right, y'all. We still got one more segment that we got to get to. Killa Cruisin sent me a screenshot.
Wasn't 1.1. But it.
Uh-oh. Killa, though.
Ooh.
That's close.
Yeah. Hey, also.
Oh, wait. Bang!
Maybe we get Danny up here for the labor simulation. I think she would like that.
Honestly, I think people would be more curious to watch her try to do a boot in 1.1, but she's got to wear a white shirt.
Danny, are you down to watch me do the labor simulation?
Oh, I thought you meant her do the labor.
No,
I'm like, that's awful.
For her to watch me do it.
Oh, I gotcha. I was going to say, it'd be a lot easier for her to do it.
Her pain tolerance is a lot higher.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like, I jammed my toe, and it's really bad. She, like, broke her foot.
I mean, I've been told that jamming your toe is a lot like giving birth.
It's pretty much the same.
I mean, I can't imagine it's much different.
I always get into the argument with my fiance of, I think getting hit in the gonads, same equal pain giving birth.
I mean, the maths.
Yeah.
Checks out. I think so. Yep. I think so. Mario says, I'd rather get tased than get that pregnancy sim. Do both. Do both. Kidney stones are worse. I don't know. Kidney stones do sound pretty bad, though. I can't imagine. I'm hoping I never have to imagine. All right, y'all. We got one more segment to get underway here. And if you don't know, well, you're probably going to know soon. It's players on the hot seat. Got a few players on the hot seat. I'm trying to see if that video's out yet. I don't think it is. All right, it is. It just went out. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We're moving. That vid is out. Good stuff to McCullough. Shout out to him. Okay. You guys ready for more Raiders content? Oh, yeah? I think so. I'm ready for more Raiders content.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so coming up here on the show.
Oh, sorry. Did not mean this.
I think you did. Who's the hottest Raiders player? Yeah, it's supposed to say, who's on the hot seat? But Chuggs went with who's the hottest Raiders player. I don't know. I do. I think Jeremy has to answer it. Actually, Jeremy, you got to give me your top 5.
Ugh.
All right, Jeremy.
Sorry about that.
Kill 1, marry 1, F1. Jimmy Garoppolo, Hunter Renfrow, Max Crosby.
All right. Jimmy Garoppolo, Hunter Renfrow, Max Crosby.
Yep, you got to kill 1, you got to marry 1, and then you got to do 1.
I'm starting Jimmy G.
So you're marrying Jimmy G.
I'm going to bench Max Crosby and cut Hunter Renfrow.
All right, so you're going to kill Crosby.
No, bench.
I don't know what game we're playing now. So you're going to marry Garoppolo, you're going to do Renfrow, and Crosby's on his way out.
Opposite.
So you're going to do Crosby. All right, I think we got it.
Yep.
I think we got it. That's the content that people come here for.
Literally, that's why they come here.
Locals. Only fans. Douglas, Chuggs is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. Chugging boots, there's no doubt about that. Another one. What?
Taryn said Max is going to tear you up.
Oh, man. Yikes. Robert City, how much can I send in right now to get a boot sent to my house?
I don't even know if we have a boot ready to send.
Oh, man. See, the way that we usually do it, Robert, is once the boot gets filled, then we send it off, we auction it. So Robert Jansen says 500. We would be bending the rules here a little bit, but usually Robert Jansen is he's the guy who does a lot of the do's and don'ts around here. So I'll do that. You send a 500 Venmo right now at Mitchell Renz 365. And then I'm going to send you this boot. However, I'm going to make a deal so that way we fill up this boot. So if you send in that 500 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365, then basically what I'm going to end up doing is if people just send in a good vibe sticker, I'm going to put your name on this boot. We're going to fill it up and we'll send it to you. Does that sound good? That way you get a boot that's filled. I don't want you to get a half-ass boot. That's not really what it's about. So, Robert, you set the price. That's what we're going to go with.
Robert's the fun police.
Robert is like the policeman in the chat, which I respect. Somebody's got to be that guy, right? Somebody has to be that guy, and that's what Robert Jansen is.
He's the moderator without being the moderator.
Yep. Hellcat, then everyone's going to want to do that.
Speaking of
Maybe.
hottest Raiders players, what are we doing?
If you want this fan, you can have it. I don't use them. It's too hot.
Probably whenever they did an event in here.
Yeah.
Jack was the producer. It's probably him.
For what? Oh. All right, y'all. Coming up right now here on the Raiders Report.
Hottest Raiders, presented by RexMD.
You got to stop. Players on the hot seat here for the Raiders.
That's what I said.
Yep. Players on the hot seat. Eric M. No, not a super chat. Venmo. Big difference. Big difference here. All right, y'all. We got 631 people watching. 669 likes. The perfect amount. Coming up here, the top 6 players that got the hottest. That's even worse. The top 6 players that have the hottest seat on the Raiders. Oh, my God. Hopefully none of them are tight ends. Jesus. All right, let's try this one more time. I got 6 players, and they're on the hot seat.
I got 6 players. They're
hot.
really hot.
Wow. All right. I think we just end the show. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what my intro is going to be. Let's F it. Let's wing it. Coming up right now, a show around players that are on the hot seat. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Our show today is around 6 Raiders players that are on the hot seat. And today's show is sponsored by RexMD. If you don't already know, if you got a hard time getting hard, go to rexmd.com/chat. That link's going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description of today's show. So the way I wanted to do this is around, you see joint practice performance, you see the 49ers game, and you just saw going into this current moment right now. I'm not saying that these 6 players are going to get cut. I'm simply saying that if I was a coaching staff, I would turn up the heat on these dudes because we need to see more from them as it stands right now. They're not ranked in any particular order, so please keep that in mind. So here we go, our Raiders hot seat list. First name coming in here, it's Duke Shelley. And it shouldn't be much of a surprise. I am a fan of Shelley. The moment that the Raiders signed him, he has been a player that I will continue to say deserves to make this 53-man roster. However, the current situation for the Raiders cornerback, it's not great because when the Silver and Black released their very first depth chart of the year, and I get it, take it with a grain of salt, but he was buried on that depth chart. I mean, way, way down there. Shelley also had a very unlucky play in that preseason game, which should have had an interception, resulted in a tip and a 49ers touchdown. On top of that, Amik Robertson continues to play well. This organization, they like Sam Webb. I don't know how many corners that the Raiders end up keeping on their 53. If I were to keep my top 6 corners on this team, Shelley would be a part of it because of his fit in press man coverage, because of his overall fit with the Patrick Graham defense. But I don't make those calls. So when you have the combined or combination of him being down on the depth chart, some other players that this Raiders team likes, I do still think that he ends up making the roster, but there's no doubt about it. He's on the hot seat. Another player who actually is on the hot seat, and he's not even included on this, is David Long Jr. I thought, do I put David Long Jr. on the list? Do I put Duke Shelley on the list? Hell, both of them could be on this list. So here's your opportunity to be Dave Ziegler, and I want you to make this decision right now. And you know what? It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Will Duke Shelley make the 53-man roster for the Silver and Black? Type M for that he's going to make it, or you could type W for that he won't. Let's go to the next player here on the Raiders hot seat list, Darian Butler. Linebacker, second-year player out of Arizona State, and I know he's got good connections with Antonio Pierce, the Raiders linebacker coach. However, Butler played decent against the Niners with 3 tackles, and he did have a pass breakup. Curtis Bolton, though, outplayed him. Bolton was arguably one of the best linebackers on the Raiders in that preseason game against the Niners. On top of that, Las Vegas likes and has been impressed with UDFA Drake Thomas. We've seen the Raiders bring in linebackers in on visits. We've seen the Raiders, try to sign a Darius Harris. Unfortunately, he was injured and he's already on his way out. So for Butler, not knowing exactly where he stands on this team, they're going to keep a Luke Masterson. They're going to keep Robert Spillane. They're going to keep Divine Diablo. And they're going to keep Amari Burney. I do not anticipate this organization keeping 5 linebackers on their roster. And if they do, it's not going to be Butler. It's going to be Drake Thomas. At least that's where my 2 cents lies. Last season, he did get some opportunities to play, but that's because the depth last season wasn't nearly what the depth is this upcoming season for the Raiders. He had 11 tackles. He's got some connections with the coaching staff. I want Butler to succeed, which is why I'm turning up the heat right now on his seat, which just sounds weird. Now, again, man, huge shout out to today's sponsor, RexMD. And if anybody out there needs to use RexMD, hey, man, I totally get you. RexMD.com/chat is where you can find this awesome, awesome product because I definitely appreciate them sponsoring the Raiders Report. So, fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? Do you wish you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get the medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the USA, so you can trust that it's quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions or concerns you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to RexMD.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to RexMD.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat for up to 90% off. All right, let's go to the next player here on the hot seat. It's Matthew Butler, defensive tackle for the Silver and Black. For those of you that watch this show a lot, you'll know that Butler has been a hot seat candidate on this show multiple times, from things that were reported before the NFL draft to things after the draft, minicamp, OTAs. He was a fifth-round pick out of Tennessee in 2022. And when I look at this Raiders defensive tackle roster, y'all know how I feel about it. I think it's one of the worst defensive tackle rooms in the league. Yes, I do believe in Rob Leonard being a good coach, but I think Butler's the worst DT on this team. I do. And when I say that out loud, if he wasn't drafted in the fifth round, if he wasn't, a part of this McDaniels Ziegler regime, he wouldn't make this team. And yes, all the Raiders DTs, I thought they actually looked pretty damn good against the Niners. So if I'm Las Vegas here, I'm keeping Bilal Nichols. I'm going to keep Jerry Tillery. Byron Young is a player that they like, drafted in the third round. Neil Farrell Jr. has had his ups and downs, but the upside is definitely there. And then Nesta, Jade, Silvera has flat out outplayed Butler. On top of that, Adam Butler, John Jenkins have outplayed Matthew Butler. So to me, I just don't understand why the Raiders would end up keeping him, but that's got to be a reason why he's on the hot seat. Coming up next here, I got 4 players on offense that are on the hot seat, and the last one is more of a bonus, if you will, right? His seat's not all that hot, though. There's probably some people out there that disagree with me, and you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. But here's the thing, man. We're always trying to get you guys more content. We're always out there grinding it out, and we're always in here to, provide the best content possible for Raider Nation. So the goal that we have right now, Jeremy and I, we're trying to get to 140,000 subs. So if you haven't, hit that subscribe button. And if you are one of our awesome subscribers already, put that fire emoji down in the comments. That way that we know that you're already subbed and you're not on the hot seat. Let's go to the next name here on our list. It's Britton Brown, running back for the Silver and Black. And he was drafted in the 7th round back in 2022 out of UCLA. Brown missed the 49ers preseason game, and he also missed joint practices. He's been battling some sort of a strange injury that has not been put out there by the Raiders. And McDaniels and Ziegler are already, don't tell you what the hell's going on. And until they actually have to report injuries, they're not going to tell you. But Sincere McCormick had 2 touchdowns, and when I think, okay, who are the 2 backs kind of that are similar and have a role that they're battling with right now? It's Sincere McCormick and it's Britton Brown, and McCormick has to have that early edge. On top of that, I would imagine that this organization decides to keep 5 running backs, and one of those will be Jacob Johnson. Now, I will admit, I do not keep Johnson if you do not bring back Josh Jacobs, and the reason why I say that is because I would like this team to go a few different directions instead of being able to keep another fullback. However, I'm keeping Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdul. This team loves Brandon Bolden and Jacob Johnson. After that, if they decide to keep another back, it's going to be a battle between Britton Brown, Sincere McCormick. And I don't think that right now Brown is going to win that one. Also, they got Darwin Thompson on this list and Damian Williams. So lots and lots of competition in that running back room. So my question to you is this: will Britton Brown make the roster? Type your Y for yes, or I want you to type your N for no. I'm going to type my N for no simply because I don't believe in the talent, and I don't believe that the Raiders should keep that many running backs. Let's now go to the next player here on the hot seat, and I'm going to say it's Thayer Munford Jr., and some of y'all might not agree with this one, but it's more in the idea of when you listen to some of the beat reporters out there, and I get it, the Raiders have had good beat reporters for a long time. Unfortunately, over the past year or two, it's really fallen off a cliff. And I expected a much better game from Munford against the Niners because of the reports out there that apparently Munford's going to be taking Jermaine Illuminor's job at right tackle. Here's the thing. You watch the tape, you look at the practice reports, you talk to players. I mean, Illuminor is light years ahead of where Munford is right now. And for the Raiders to put Munford out there or even think that he's going to be able to compete with Illuminor, it's just bad coaching from top to bottom. On top of that, Dalton Wagner, he continues to impress me, and Carmen Brasillo loves big offensive linemen. Now, also with the news that just happened today, for those of you that are watching this live, Brandon Parker, he got moved to IR, so he's done for the season. So that means right now the Raiders have Colton Miller, they have Jermaine Illuminor, and then you have Thayer Munford. Those are going to be your offensive tackles on this team. But Dalton Wagner and Justin Herron are now going to be battling potentially for that fourth offensive line spot, which is exactly where I'm going to go here with my next player here on the hot seat, and it's got to be Herron. The seat just got hotter with Brandon Parker being out because originally it was probably Herron and Parker competing for that left tackle backup spot behind Miller because both players can play right tackle and left tackle. But here's the thing, man. Herron was by far the worst Raiders offensive lineman against San Francisco. I did make this show technically before the Brandon Parker news came out, and Parker's been out playing him. So I know what a lot of y'all think about Parker. If Parker's out playing Justin Herron, that's bad news. And then I saw what Dalton Wagner did. Solid run stopper. A solid run blocker coming out of Arkansas, UDFA. Herron looks like he's lost his step coming off the injury that he sustained. Yes, the Raiders traded for him last offseason. They gave up a 6th-round pick, and they got a 7th-round pick in return in 2024. But that doesn't mean he's a lock to make this team by any means necessary. So right now, here are my 6 Raiders players where I'm turning up the heat a little bit because you need a wake-up call. Duke Shelley, Darian Butler, Matthew Butler, Britton Brown, Thayer Munford, and Justin Herron. But Mitch, didn't you say we were going to have another player? Yes, I did. So here's this one, okay? It's Jimmy Garoppolo, and I want to put him on this list not because he deserves it, but because I pay attention to Raider Nation, because I'm on social media, because I see what you guys vote on our community poll, what you guys vote on our live poll. Let me make one thing very, very clear here. Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to lose his job, but that's not necessarily what a hot seat is. I know for a fact, and I guarantee you, I'm laughing right now because I know a lot of y'all are going to do the exact same thing. If Garoppolo goes out there week 1 and he shits the bed against the Denver Broncos, and if Aidan O'Connell plays the way that he's played in that first preseason game, people are going to be calling for it. Bench Jimmy Garoppolo, put in Aidan O'Connell. I can already hear it now, but that is what a hot seat is. So Garoppolo already knew that he had some pressure. He already knows he's got to be able to go out there and prove himself. He knows that he has to stay healthy. But right now, the nation, after O'Connell went 15 of 18 for 141 yards and a touchdown, a quarterback rating of 117.8, they want to see more of AOC. They want to see more of Farva. They want to see more of number 4. And if Garoppolo does not go out there and produce wins, because that's why he's here, to produce wins. If he doesn't do that, the seat's going to get hot real quick because the Raiders want some Aidan O'Connell. So here's my question. Pick a starter. Jimmy G or Aidan O'Connell. Type JG for Jimmy Garoppolo or type AOC for Aidan O'Connell. I will continue to say it's going to be Garoppolo. That's the Raiders' plan. That's what they want. The only way that you're going to see O'Connell as a starter is if Garoppolo gets hurt, because this team and organization has a plan for Aidan to sit back, learn behind Jimmy G, learn behind Brian Hoyer, and then in 2024, you hand the keys to the car to Aidan O'Connell. Now, Jeremy's got a totally other question. Pick a starter.
No, what?
Same question?
Yeah, same question.
Oh, all right, my bad.
A lot of libs in the chat right
Yikes. Oh, man. What am I going to do with you?
Rodrigo loves AOC. Felix loves AOC.
I don't know.
Coming.
Uh-oh.
El Loco Uno loves him some AOC.
Wow, that's dope. Yo, check out that thing Brett just put in production. Oh, you got it?
The thing is, Mitch.
You already got it?
The thing is.
Oh, dude, this is elite.
It's right. Oh.
Not quite. We're getting close. So we just came up with an idea, and we're going to go with it. It's going to be pretty dope.
Dang, I was going to surprise you with it and just do it like that.
Devastating. You'll get it, though. You'll get it together here. We got 665 people watching. Nobody clicked the share button because we don't need one more. That'd be no bueno. So I don't even remember how we got to this idea, but I love the idea. As soon as the 2023 season starts, and I mean as soon as our kickoff party starts here on the Raiders Report, I'm doing a Raiders Report Black Book. What is a Black Book? It is every time you send in a $100 super chat and we bang, I'm going to add you to our Black Book. So I'm going to see how many people are part of our bang list for the 2023 season. It's going to be interesting. But I think I don't know how we're going to do it. There's going to be a lot of banging going on. I think it's just got to be 100 and above.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like, oh, Zonson and a 500, he gets 5 bangs.
AOC on the bang list?
It's a trap.
Hey, real question.
It's a trap.
Did you know who AOC was, the congresswoman, before they drafted him?
Yes.
You actually did?
Yes?
I thought the answer would be no, and I would have been jealous, because I am jealous if you're like,
I don't pay attention to politics.
yes.
I
I'm jealous.
Politics I do not pay attention to. I do not care about politics. Some of you probably do care. Here's the thing. I stay in my lane. I stay in my lane. But yes. Honestly, that picture, though, I was like, that's either Nancy Pelosi or AOC.
Not Nancy.
That's the joke. Pick a starter, Jimmy Garoppolo or Aidan O'Connell,
Is that 'cause
JG.
those are the only 2 female politicians you've ever heard of?
Probably right now, yeah.
Because you really couldn't name another.
I don't think I could, no.
How about the vice president?
No idea. All right, guys, I think that's all the time we got for today. We did a lot of coverage here on the Raiders Report and did cover some news. RN4SL, hey. Again, it's not the politics report. I don't like politics, man. I think it's a lot of bad conversation usually. People just get pinned up against each other. I'm more of a person that likes to bring people together. Politics anymore today, man, I think they just divide people. So, yeah, I don't get into it. Don't get into it at all.
If our politicians did more boots, did more cheese whiz shots,
Facts.
maybe we're in a better place.
I don't disagree with you, man. And my biggest thing when I do this show, man, I want
could you
people to have a
imagine-
good time and bring people
Could you
together.
imagine on Capitol Hill if they live streamed it and every time somebody sent in 100, a senator had to go, bang! Who's doing a boot? Who's doing a boot? Let's get that new senator up here.
That'd be wild. Also, a new senator, some man walks up 60 years old, can barely move. It'd be brutal. Aggressive Master Raider, Super Chat. So if you guys want Jeremy Chuggs and I to stay live, keep the Super Chats a-flowing. We'll answer some questions, but as soon as they stop, I do got to head on out of here. Aggressive, if you got signatures at camp from players on a replica helmet that don't make the 53, do you erase them? No. You don't erase them. I think those players can still have an opportunity to make it, but I think it's about living in that moment, right? Like, I think football games for me, and whatever you just said there, like the signatures on the helmet, I hope that you, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you can remember that exact moment and that memory. That's going to be a lot more important for you than just that helmet.
Unless they turn out to be like an awful, horrible person.
Yeah, unless a horrible situation ends up happening, then that's the situation where
yeah.
I would take that name off. But besides that,
Aaron
man.
Hernandez.
Yeah, not great. It's not great. All right, y'all. I think that's all the time that Jeremy Chuggs and I have for you. Do you want to send it to Loop? How do you want to do it? We'll just cut it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't set up the loop.
That's
today.
fine. All right, y'all.
Next one, I will set up the loop.
Well, we haven't done the loop in a very, very long time, so it's understandable. It's understandable. Unless you guys want to keep this thing going for a little bit longer. If not, we are going to bounce on out of here. So help us reach 140,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Put those fire emojis down in the chat right now if you are already subbed to the Raiders Report. If not, the next time that I am going to see you guys is going to be Thursday with Jeremy Chuggs. It's going to be Thursday happy hour.
Imagine anybody who got an Antonio Brown Raiders jersey.
I saw a lot of them, man. My first Oakland
Really?
game. Oh, dude, they were everywhere. There was I have a picture on my Instagram.
They had to have done a return policy.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, but the game that I went to, I have a picture of me. Some fan put the Antonio Brown jersey on the ground. And if you walked by their tailgate, he made you either pour your drink on it or spit on it or stomp on it. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a white jersey too. I mean, it was ruined. That was the Chanton FAB game. Otis Bailey, first time super chat. Thank you, Mitch and Chuggs, for this awesome show. Otis, you know, man, we do it for the nation. We have a great time doing it, but it's people like you who want to be able to work with us, right? Like
you, Robert Jansen, Rodrigo, Nick.
FABs.
Get the FABs in there. King Sanchez, Martin, Hellcat, Raider Muerte, Rodrigo, King Sanchez, all of you.
Agreed, man. Agreed. So, from Chuggs, from myself, from Mr. Otis Bailey, hopefully you guys having a great remainder of your day. And then again, the next time that I'm going to see all of y'all back here live on the Raiders Report Thursday, we'll probably get it started at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Or no, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I do have a giveaway thing. I had a Raider fan send me some stuff. We're going to do a giveaway item on Thursday, so keep that in mind. A nice little raffle. But from Chuggs, me, Chat Sports Team, enjoy the rest of your day.